Hello everyone, we are working on the Datsun today. Now, as you know, we started doing a lot of custom work on the tunnel, and before I finish the tunnel and finalize the top part where the shifter is, I need to make sure the engine's going to be in the perfect position. So I'm going to start by doing a gearbox mount. If you've been keeping up, you will know that I have mocked up this gearbox mount. As you can see, with some box section, it's literally just tacked in. That's to get a rough height of where the gearbox wants to sit. Now, at the minute, the gearbox is leaning over because we don't have a front or a rear mount. So I'm going to start with this because there is actually reference points I can go off. The front mount is fully custom and there's no reference points to go off. So we need to start somewhere. So I'm starting back here. Poster board, 50p a sheet. It's the good stuff that you can make templates out of, and it's white and it's easy to cut. And it bends and all that good stuff. Went to my local appliance shop and I just bought that 50p a sheet. Should have done that years ago because that is going to help out a treat. But yeah, whip this monstrosity off, make a new template, and then we can make it out of some 5mm steel. Right, here's our little template. Now there's a lot of figuring out to do and I'm not quite sure how to do it. So what I've done is just start simply in the middle, right? So we drew over those like that. So we now have the holes there that match up to our engine mount, which is, just there like that. So what I think I'm going to do is obviously mount this to the gearbox, and then we need to sort of come out to here, and this needs to, bend downwards and then down again. To mount into some of these holes I've drawn on the paper here, some funky angles in it. I'm not quite sure what angle it wants to be at, but I'll figure it out. So we're going to do a fold line here and a fold line here somewhere. Let me just do that. The template's too short. See, I told you I didn't know what the angles were going to be. Right, new bit of cardboard made. That is the template that we're going with. It is a bit skewy for the minute because the gearbox isn't actually straight. But as long as we do the mount symmetrical, both sides, then the gearbox will be centered and we can then move on to the front. So you need to make this piece perfect out of metal. And then what I'll do is I'll make some gussets that go across here, just so that bit there is bridged. Maybe a little one there as well. I think it'll be fine. It's gonna be made out of 5mm and it's gonna be pretty strong. Weld down there, weld down there. It's gonna be all good. So I'm gonna take that off, make that out of metal, and get it mocked up. Right, okay, so we're putting a pedal box in this car because the car originally was the cable clutch and the new gearbox is a hydraulic clutch. The best thing to do was put a pedal box in, which means the servo here needs to be removed. So we're gonna remove the servo, weld up the bulkhead and smooth that off. So it's gonna tidy up this corner a lot. That thing there is coming right out. There's so much junk in here, it's unreal. Awfulness everywhere. Well, that was a pain in the ass. There's a lot of bolts and stuff to get that out, but yeah, no pedal box. Accelerator's still there. I've left the pedal box at home, but I am gonna fill up all those holes in the bulkhead that we don't need, which is quite a lot. So let's cut some metal and crack on. Get the old dirty finger trick. There you go. Template. Get that welded in there then, shall we? Terrible time to find out that the gas bottle's not working. Anyway, I'll just make lots of little templates, lots of little circles to fill the holes. Now that is the master, clutch cable, coolant, heater matrix bungs, and that one I don't know what it is, but we're gonna fill it anyway. The annoying ones are these little holes here, because they're just too big to weld and they are also very small to make a little template, but there we are. We'll make a couple of those. Well, I say a couple, like 6 or 7 of them scattered about the place, and that is pretty much all the holes. I think these ones that I'm welding up are the main ones. Like the rest of them, There's literally hundreds. We're not going for something crazy, but these ones are quite big holes that are definitely not going to be used, so weld those up. This one here is actually a speedo cable as well, so I'm not quite sure if that's going to link up. I'm about to go check that. If we can get that to connect, then we'll leave it there. If not, we'll bin that. After some pulling things apart and putting it back together, we have a Datsun speedo cable mated straight to an RX-7 gearbox. Who'd have thought it? Obviously the cable's slightly long. We'll have to like P-clip that out of the way or something, but it used to come in around here. But obviously we have to cut across now, so yeah, something actually works for once. Brilliant. Tedious little circles. A couple more to do. Tiny little circles now tacked into the car. Now I've just got to spend ages welding them up and not blowing holes into it, because that bulkhead is a lot thinner than I anticipated. Obviously these ones here were for the brake lines. Just felt like we didn't need them anymore, and the brake lines can go down the back somewhere. So that's why we got those ones there as well. The steel is here, tracing it out, doing all our sketching out on here, getting it all, you know, drawn out. And I will be cutting it out. Obviously, make sure it's nice and flat, make sure all the lines are perfect, and then hopefully it fits. And I didn't mess anything up, because it's an expensive bit of metal. Basically, I'm going to cut down these seams, and that's why we're going to fold it in the vise, and then what we'll do is we'll weld it back up and we'll gusset it also, make sure it's definitely really strong. It doesn't actually have to be crazy strong, but it will have to be fairly strong. You know, it's got hold of a gearbox, but the gearbox is not that heavy. All the weight is in the engine side of things. Still need a plasma cutter. It would save me hours and hours of time. Let's cut it out. Now, what I've got to do is cut down this line here and this line here, and then basically on this line, I need to cut it on that side because the way we're bending it, and then I can get a good weld in the seam. Yeah, this is going to be fun. Once that's partially bent, try it on the car, see if it fits, see how many of these holes I've got in the wrong position, hopefully none of them, and then we can basically weld it, then make our gussets on it. See this here, I like to cut quite deep into it and then cut an angle on it, both sides, nice chamfer, so when we bend it, it has some room for it to bend basically. If I just cut a straight line, it will try and close up, so you need to open that gap up quite a little bit. I've marked this side and this side, so I can flip it over, I'm gonna have witness marks on where to cut. So I'm gonna cut this side and then mock it into the car. Nice. I mean, it's not entirely straight, but if I put this on the table, I can then roughly get an idea of where it needs to sit. And by the looks of it currently, we're too high. So I need to push it down so these meet to there. And then that way, it's roughly in the right place. Lines up, lines up. Now, I don't know about you, but that doesn't look as tall as this when it was on the car. I don't know what's happened here. It's been a couple of days since I made this, since I got this. So looking at this now, it doesn't look how it should. I thought it was going to come up to like here. So that's puzzled me, and I've spent some time making this, and now I'm confused. What has happened? I don't get it. Is this the wrong template? I made 2 templates, but I thought I threw the other one away, and this was the right one. I'm pretty sure this is the right one. Having a bit of a dumb moment. If you look here, obviously, it's loads wider than the one that's already in there. Obviously, this, when it's upright, is a lot narrower. So it'd be like that. I'll need to go home because my brain is not working, but yeah, we've nearly got this bent into position. Okay, new day, got my brains on, and we are level. We are level. So that's in a position now. I can see, obviously it's level. I can then weld down this seam here, down this seam here, and then once I take it back off, I'll weld down that seam there and that seam there. All of them are all right, apart from this bolt hole ever so slightly off. So just got to open that hole up a little bit. So yeah, for hand drilled, I'll take that. But yeah, that's what we're going to start with. I'll weld this up while it's in place, and obviously we've got the spirit level there, so we know it's level. I've got the ramp set flat both sides, so all the ramp legs all the way down, and then on the back I've actually just got it on the sill and on the sill, so we know the ramp is level as well. All right, let's do some welding. Just did a weld there, done a weld there, welded the corners of these brackets, and now I'm gonna gusset it before I take it off the car. So basically come from here to the middle and then back again. I'll make a nice shape, make a template out of cardboard, make it out of metal, and then I'll tack it on here, and then I can seam weld it on the inside once I take it off the car. And then we know it's not gonna try and go left to right. Something like that. And then the exhaust can go through the middle of this, and it basically comes through that gap there, through the middle of this. That's why we've got the big cutout in the middle instead of going straight across. All right, let's weld that in there, shall we? Made sure we got a nice surface to weld all the way down there. See if we go on the top, and then I can obviously get to the back side as well. So now, pull it off, get it on the bench, and just seam weld it all together. Just bolted the original gearbox cradle to our new gearbox cradle, so when we weld it, nothing can really move, so it's all together. Now when I weld down here, it's not going to try and bend up like that way, because it's not really a gusset that way. We don't need one, might do a little one, but you know, we'll see how we go. It's going to be strong, this thing, so I'm not too worried. Look at this. Nice. I'm good. Quite happy with that. It's come out really nice. I think we can all agree that is quite nice. Elongated that hole there, and if you actually look at the factory holes, they're elongated anyway, so you know, it's a good thing to have anyway. So get this on the car now. I'm just going to put it on there for mock-up purposes right now. I know it needs painting and stuff like that, but we need this in and mounted so we can basically mount the front mount. Potentially in future there will be a bracket on here for an exhaust hanger or something like that. So yeah, I won't paint it just yet, but as you can see, it's come out very nice. I'm happy with it. It's on, it's bolted up. I've stripped one of the threads, but it's on, so let's take a look. Yeah, fits. All mounted up. This is the bolt hole that I stripped. It was slightly chewy throughout this process, and after taking it on and off about 20 times, it stripped. So annoying, but I'll fix that. I'll have to cut the body out and put a new nut on from the inside or whatever. But yeah, all is good. It's all mounted. Gearbox sits nice. This little access point here is going to be perfect for the exhaust, because obviously the exhaust is going to come through here and then straight through the middle, and then you could probably get like a 3-inch exhaust through that hole there, because it's a lot higher than the chassis rails themselves. So really pleased with that. Really strong, probably overbuilt, but best to be solid than not strong enough at all, you know what I mean? So yeah, now that's in, I know that the gearbox is in the middle of the car, and then we can get the front of the car fairly straight. And the way I build the front will then realistically make my life a lot easier now I've done this. So that is done, finalized. That is the best gearbox cradle I've ever made. I've made 2, and this one was better than the first one. I actually really enjoyed making that, and that now makes me a little bit more excited for the front one, which I'm gonna quickly talk about right now. So engine's in, it's centered, we've got the within, you know, not even half a degree, and now we can finally focus on making the front mount. Now the front mount bolts on those 4 bolts there. It's got to go across, sit on the chassis rail. I've got to incorporate this in there somehow, not too sure. I've got to think about the radiator. It's very, very, very tight, and there's a lot of angles and figuring out that I need to do. So I was going to do it in this video, but it's going to be another video just for the front mount, because now I'm looking at it again, it reminds me that that's a lot of work. But yeah, that's just some more fab work done on the Datsun. I haven't finished welding up all the holes in the bulkhead yet. Some of them are done, like the servo, I don't know if I filmed that, that's done. Brake lines are done, all the other ones are tacked up, but just got to finish welding those at some point. Maybe I'll do that today. This video is all over the shop, absolutely all over the shop. I filmed it in like within 2 weeks of each other, so if it doesn't make sense when I'm editing it, I do apologize, but just some more fab work done on there. And the next video could be a number of things. This weekend, got some people coming up to put the other ramps up. This one's going over there and stuff like that. Anyway, so I might film that. I might be going to look at a bunch of cars for sale, and I mean like maybe 100 plus cars of abandoned cars that not really anyone's seen. That might be happening, don't hold me to that, and I'll obviously be doing more work to this. So I don't know what the next video is, but subscribe. Thank you all very much for watching. See you later.